Hello all, it's James Johnson aka Sulfurblade. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my content, and welcome back to Football Coach College Dynasty. Alright, so evidently a new update has dropped for the game. And from what I'm gathering, this update revolves around athletes. In particular, the ability to recruit athletes for how do I put this? Instead of, looking for a offensive lineman to fill an offensive lineman or looking for a running back to fill a running back role, I guess there's going to be athletes in the game that are versatile and you can choose them to fill a given role that your team may need. This to me sounds a bit like the whole position changes that happens in the beginning of the season I never bother with. But maybe it might be more useful. I don't know. I guess it's something we will check out if it's retroactive, meaning if it is content that will insert itself into an already established game like we have going now. So obviously this is Spring 1, which means we're going to begin doing our recruiting for the upcoming season, and so we'll quickly find out if there are indeed athletes in this recruiting pool to choose from, and if that's something that makes sense for us. I myself don't see why I would go after an athlete. Maybe I could turn him into some some decent defensive players. But for me, when I think of athletes, I think of guys in high school that, were the stars of their team because they were highly athletic. They tended to be the kicker and the punter and the quarterback, and they could have played any other position if they wanted to, but because they were the best athlete on the team, they played quarterback in high school, and then they move on, I suppose, to college. Maybe they get picked up for being a kicker or whatnot, but still there's some position that the college is seeing them to do, which I suppose is what the athlete concept is, right? My scouts are envisioning this guy being capable of X, Y, or Z. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll check it out. We'll see how it plays. Anyway, we'll jump in and get these practices done as the first things we'll start with. Then some training. I know I was upset with this QB losing QB IQ in the offseason, so we're going to try to replace that. Oh boy, that was a minimal gain here. We literally replaced the QB IQ he lost. You can't get any less than 2. This is not a breakthrough. This is just a bad roll. All right, I'm pretty sure we said we were going to work on our future fullback here. What am I? Probably strength, so he can become or ball carrier vision. Maybe a mix of strength and ball carrier vision, but for right now I think strength. Okay. Alright. You are the guy with crazy, terrible run blocking. Alright, that's better. It feels more serviceable, if you will. And then we have this guy here. How many? I have one more offensive train. Okay, a good roll on run blocking. So 9, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 guys in the 80s now. And then there was somebody down here who already has a decent, but his strength is on the weak side. So we're gonna pump strength into him. Alright. Now to the kickers. The first gain is the one where you can get the biggest max potential. And I feel like I should give it to punting power, as he is our punter and kicker. I intentionally gave him punting. This wasn't a mistake this time. This was intended. All right. Right. We need to establish the ends, if you will. We've got speed 73, pursuit 61. He feels like a nose guard. We've got speed 81, pursuit 72. A little bit faster, but his pursuit could be better to be an end. His defensive IQ could be better as well. Wow. Not an optimal roll there. Alright, 72, 68, 54, 67. So again, they're not feeling like ends. And again, we got totally robbed of a decent roll. I feel like our defensive trainings are going up in smoke right now. There's this sophomore down here with an A-. Am I going to continue to train defensive linemen? I might. Corners? How are the corners? There's safety here I might want to give some love to. Alright, man coverage, zone coverage. 86 speed. I'm thinking this guy's the free safety. Which means one of these two is going to end up the strong safety. 80 strength, 60 strength. Well, you fit the strong safety archetype probably better. D- durability though. I don't know, if I want this guy to kind of be a backup and serve both positions, I think he needs strength. So let's help him out in the strength department. We haven't gotten good pursuit gains today. However, he did alright. Alright, those will be our initial trains. Let's jump into the recruiting and see what we got. See if we see any of these athletes and how they play out. Right, I see it here in the thing. There are indeed athletes. Why do I want to go after an athlete? I'm just curious. Alright, they seem to be listed as quarterbacks. Oh, that's because I have quarterback selected? It is. Alright. Alright, I don't see a single athlete here. Maybe it's just because my game had already populated the recruits and I'm not going to see it until next year. Or maybe I have to start a new game. That's fine. We'll wait till next year. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not so sure it's a feature I'm going to be highly invested in anyway. I'm just curious about it. Okay, what positions do we need? Tight end. Let's start with tight end. Alright. He's on the front page. I think this is going to be our tight end. Okay, we only have a medium-low chance at him. Maybe I should look for someone that's going to be easier for us to target. Right, we don't really have much as far as scouting done on these guys. Leader only. C. D plus. D plus, yeah, we don't want those guys. Top 3. Are these the top 3s? Evidently. Alright, well, I guess who we've picked is who we've picked. We're going to battle it out for the tight end this year. Let's go to offensive line. C minus, C plus, D minus. I mean, he is a 4-star C minus that starts at 70, but still, I don't like guys with low potential. Again, he is, however, starting at 70, which is pretty good. All right. We need a kicker. We're top 3 on these kickers, huh? We have a little bit of scouting done here. A D. An A minus. So we know the guy's got potential. I mean, 76 punting power isn't bad. We technically, we could use a punter. Also could use a kicker. You know, I'm fine with him. He can come be a punter. I don't care if my punters are accurate, per se, because they don't seem to ever do a good job of getting the 1-yard kicks, if you will. I just care that my punters have a big booming leg so that they can hawk it down the field as far as possible to change the field position battle. Okay, so far so good. We need quite a few linebackers. Let's skip defensive line and linebackers and go to the corners. Okay, there's a B. A B, 71 overall. Yeah, we're going to target him. 64 A minus recruit, not bad either. We'll target him. Alright, I'm happy enough with those corners. We still have some scouts left. Let's check out the safeties. C minus, not interested. Do we have any scout potential on anyone here? We do. D. Alright, well, we're going to target him, him, and him so that they can come to camp and be looked at. Alright, now let's go back to defensive linemen. It's going to be a defensive camp year. Am I going to try to compete for any of the big dogs? I mean, this guy immediately is jumping out to me that I have a better than typical shot at competing for him. Obviously, this guy. Oh, we'll target him. And we'll target him. Wait, that's a quarterback. It is a quarterback. Well, that's interesting. Wasn't looking for a quarterback, but I think we may have found one. I was looking at defensive linemen. Here he is. those 3 defensive linemen I just targeted, we're going to have come to camp. Okay. We have 3 camp visits left. Which we're going to use on linebackers. Look at this. 2 of the top linebackers immediately want to come to our program. Well, I don't see why we wouldn't. Oops. Wow. Evidently, we must have a squad that linebackers are just salivating to join. We must be known for the linebacker position because they all want to come to Minnesota. Let's give him a look over. I'm curious about this guy. And possibly him. As well as him. It's a smorgasbord of linebackers here. Number 3 and number 4 overall. I'm not going to actually invite them to camp. I want to, I don't know. Where are the other linebackers? Yeah, I want to see what's what in these lower rated linebackers. Okay, I'll have them come to camp. Alright, let's just take a gander at the positions we haven't looked at. Well, evidently we've looked at quarterback, but let's take a proper look at quarterback. We accidentally looked at quarterback and was like, yeah, we want that guy. Which is him. Anybody dying to join our squad? Well, not really. Not till the bottom of the basement. Running back. Let's look at all of them at first. This is the big running back. We don't have a chance at really going after him. Who's the first one that we have an outside shot at? Medium low here. And then unknown commodities. That's what they are. And guys that want to come to the squad, are there any of them? Yeah, but they're unknown commodities. We'll check these guys out next round, I think, to see if any of these have untapped potential. We'll temporarily target this guy because he's so interesting coming to Minnesota. And I like an underdog story. These guys already have 25, 15, and 25, so I can just throw a scout on them next turn and I'll be able to see what they are. But since this guy's got 0, if I throw a target on him, because he's targeted, he'll gain a 5% increase just because he's targeted. Actually, nah, let's just target them all. We have the targets, so we might as well get the 5% increase on all of these guys. In fact, the 5% should give us a free potential rating on those two to see if they're worth a crap or not. In fact, if we go to all of the running backs, we could probably target guys that we might have a little bit of scouting done on already to help us see if there is a running back that we might want to look for. I don't know what determines if we've already got like information on these guys. But here's one. Is there an easier way to maybe scout percentage? Ah, yeah, look at this. So we know he's a D, we don't want him. Here's a guy that we could get more information on. Sure, why not? And then we're back into the unknown pool. You know, the longer I play this, the more little tricks of the trade I'm discovering. Like, I've never used this sort by scout percentage in this manner before, but this is a very useful way of trying to look through your initial crops of guys to scout them quickly, because these are guys that we already have some scout potential on. So that's interesting to know going forward. I'm probably going to do that with wide receivers here next. So now I got a new tool in my recruiting arsenal. Look at that. We got a B right off the bat. I'm interested in this guy. Let's target him. Okay. And we'll give him a target. 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 And granted, some of these guys have no real desire to come to our squad, but hey, why not? Let's give them a look. Let's go do something similar with offensive linemen. Oh, look, here's an A. A bottom of the barrel basement guy. But still, I'm happy to have extra linemen sitting around in the squad who might turn into somebody. You know what I mean? Those are always useful to have. Yeah, let's take a look at him. I mean, sure. Okay. Yep. Righty-ho. And that's all of our targets filled. Oh, yes, we need to give pitches, which now we've thrown a bunch of people in our squad we don't necessarily want to give a pitch to, which is going to complicate things a little bit. Right, I'm pretty sure we do want to give a pitch to this tight end. This initial offensive lineman, I think, is pitchable. This kicker is pitchable. Cornerback. Okay. Sure. QB is on the wish list. These linebackers. I think you're attending camp, aren't you? Throw something at that wide receiver. Oh, these two are not attending camp. Alright, well for now you can have pitches. Is there somebody on the third page I wanted to pitch? and didn't? Not necessarily, no. I do have a pitch left. I mean, this guy's an A-, and we're not necessarily winning the battle for him. Odd. Are we going to throw a pitch on such a low-rated guy? Sure. Okay, let's move on to the next week. I'm going to continue to attempt to give our QB more QB IQ. Right, he's going to be just a total drain on my training.
Connection lost. Connected.
Maybe that's it. I'll just leave it at that. He's slightly better QB IQ than he was last year now. I feel like he's just a black hole of wasted training. And we got old boy here, a senior we're spending training on, just because his run blocking is lower than the rest of the line. I don't like that. We're out of... Yes. Go with another strength on him. Go to the kicker. Am I happy with his punt power now? Do I want to go back to kicking? I think I want to put one more into punt power. Do I? Yeah. All right. Alright, these two guys I'm trying to turn into ends. And that's a little better. Your strength is still low. We'll continue to pump that up. "100 speed, 102 speed." These two corners have the speed to keep up with anyone, and they got the man coverage to cover them. Though this guy's zone coverage is severely lacking. Here we've got a freshman. He's got okay coverage skills. We're going to toss some speed onto this freshman. We're looking at him for the future, to take over where these guys have left off, if you will. Okay, so that will be this round's training. Let's get the 8 practices in. And let's go cut some of the chaff here. I don't even know where to start. Let's sort by potential. If we go down to the bottom page, okay, well these are guys that we have to scout. Okay, he's gone. D gone. D is gone. D plus, goodbye. Goodbye. C minus, goodbye. Goodbye. No. think it's time to look at people by position. Okay, we don't need running backs at all this year. We're just kind of looking, I suppose. And of course we gotta get some complications to make it confusing. Right, so we got an A plus and an A minus in the 60s. He seems to want to come to our school. I think we'll leave him on here because he wants to come. Obviously we don't need a D minus guy. He can go. We don't necessarily need a running back this year. These are extra guys we have to compete with. Alright, what are these tags? Wants to be a star. I don't know. I don't want people who want to be a star. This player values winning. Wants to be a star. Although he's an athlete archetype. You're gone. You're from Wisconsin. I like guys from Wisconsin. Is that really a reason to recruit you? Alright, we'll leave these two here for now. Let's look at the wide receivers, which is, again, is a position we don't really need. These are just wish listings, if you will. And we're seeing at least one very good wide receiver here. What do we got here? B minus 77 compared to an A 75. He's gone. I like the A 75. And A minus 74. We're going to leave these skill position guys on here. Yeah. Right, that is the tight end. So he's actually important. Offensive line. You're gone. Alright, we're looking at 4 guys here. B minus at a 52 overall. Yeah, that's awfully low overall to be keeping a B minus, I think. So he's gone. An A minus in the 50s, I'll hang around. But a B minus, no. That leaves a 59 C plus that we have to actually compete for. Not impressed. And a B in the 60s that we have to compete for. Alright, those will be the 2 offensive linemen we're going to go after. Kicker, I'm happy with that kicker. Alright, defensive lineman. This is a 70 overall, so that's starting quite a ways up the talent tree. So potential is less important. Though this guy is not that far back at a 69, and he's got an A potential. I really like that. How many defensive linemen do I need? 2. Right. He wants to come to our squad. He's solid. He's a B. We don't have to really work hard for him. We've got an A minus that we don't have to compete that much for. I think this is the odd duck out. I'm going to keep 3 of the 4. Those are the 3 defensive linemen I'm going to go after. Yeah, I mean, do I really want to go after him? What is this? Value is winning. we still don't know what's going on with these linebackers. Well, we know what's going on with him. C plus, 72 overall. He's the number 3 linebacker in the country, number 4 linebacker in the country. They both want to come join us. That's fun. We're going to send him to camp. He's been to camp, evidently. He's a C? Alright, how many safeties do we need? Oh, he's from Wisconsin. Why am I keeping people because of that reason? I don't know. Cornerbacks. Yeah, those two aren't horrible. So I think we're starting to develop a recruiting class here. We currently have 20. How many seniors do we have this year? We have 12 seniors. Okay, so we have to cut down our recruiting class a little bit. Just a little bit. Position, please. We only need one of the safeties, so I'm keeping the A plus potential gem over this guy. He's gone. Corner wise, we only technically need one. Alright, we'll cut down the linebackers a bit. Defensive line, we need 2, and we have 3 assigned. Alright, these two we have to compete for. But that's fine. We can compete. Can we? these wide receivers and running backs, we don't need it all, but we're looking at them because we want some extra depth at those positions, and we like to have high potential guys, which means you could come to camp so I can make a more informed decision about who's getting cut. Yeah, it actually makes sense, doesn't it? We need people to go to camp anyway. We need to use these camp invites, and I'll do the same thing with these wide receivers, which I really kind of want both of them. Don't need either of them. I will have to compete for both of them more than likely. They can come to camp, and this QB I don't really need, that I've decided that so all 5 of these are just wants that are not needs. Right, who else are we going to send to camp? The offensive line guys? Sure. Means you're getting a pitch. Kicker, you're getting a pitch. And we have the pitches. Might as well use them. Alright, nobody else really left to pitch. Oh, we need to narrow down this wish list a bit. I mean, who knows? This QB might turn out to be a complete dud. So he's the number 2 quarterback overall, and the number 13 overall recruit in the entire country. He's like, you know, if we could win this battle, that would be a huge win for Minnesota. We've got a couple of other choice picks like that, like these linebackers here are number 3 and number 4. These are big wants, and they're favoring us right off the bat, so that's cool. It's nice to see that we're getting some really good recruits on the squad. Alright, let's move into the next week. Alright, we'll get practices in. I'm going to go to recruiting this time around. And we're going to sort by position. All right, so there's that quarterback. He's actually a C minus. As interesting as that is, we don't necessarily need him, and he's not. He values loyalty, though. That's a nice trait to have in a player. $70, A plus 63. F minus durability. Well, I think that just sealed your fate. You're gone. I don't want Fs in the durability department. You're durable. Alright, that has helped you keep your position. 70B 64. Hey, let's scout this guy a little more. C minus 77. Just went down. Oh, he's got low durability. You know, we don't need him. We really don't. He was a wish list. Let the other guys fight over him. B durability, that's not bad. B durability, that's not bad. We're only 300 down on him. We're 1,000 down on him. But he's technically the better player. Well, that's... How much better is he? 65%, A 73. He just went down dramatically on that one. 65% A minus 70. A minus 70. Okay, he's staying there at 70. Okay, A 71. Alright, 95 is pretty close to. That's what they're gonna be. Good route runner with okay hands. Speed isn't amazing. Average route running, average catching, average speed, average evasion. These guys are like mirror images of each other. He values loyalty though, and he's from Wisconsin. Oh, really? Is that gonna be? Well, he is the better player too. Yeah, that's how we're gonna make this choice, isn't it? All right, you're gone. Okay, so we're down to 16. How many offensive line do we need? 1 technically. B62. D durability. B plus durability. He's got the more potential upside, he's the more durable. Yeah, you're from Wisconsin, but we have to thin down the roster, and we would have to compete for you. You're gone. Alright, we're down to 15. Again, how many seniors do we have? 12. And we don't have enough people from Wisconsin. Yeah. Back to recruiting, please. 12. Kind of got to X3. Do we? Where? A corner and a defensive lineman. That would get us down to 13. Then we would have to axe somebody in the transfer period. Get rid of a junior or something we don't really need. All so that we can fit in a wide receiver and running back we weren't planning to get. Yes. Are they worth it? And the wide receiver was, I believe. Yeah. I mean, the running back is solid. Okay. Yep. So, who's next on the chopping block? A defensive lineman. No, not points ahead, by position. Okay, here's our defensive line. So we got the number 2 defensive lineman overall, the number 5 defensive lineman overall, and the number 13 defensive lineman overall. The number 5 is A minus potential. The number 13 wants to join us. He's B potential. Alright, well, I need more information before I can see who I'm going to cut on them. So what does that then leave? That leaves cornerback to weigh in on. Okay, we have these two corners. They can attend camp. They're gonna attend camp. I'll make the choice next week after they've gone to camp. This kicker, he can go to camp because why not? And this tight end, he can go to camp because why not? And then we need invites. The number of people left doesn't really matter, right? Well, we better do this by points ahead estimate and go down to the bottom. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 guys we're actually competing for. These 2 kind of wish list items, they're not a guarantee yet. So we don't necessarily have to cut some of these other people yet. We'll just stick to what we got right now. Alright, we're not putting any more effort into you, Gibson. A little more ball carrier vision on you could be fine, I think. Yeah, you're gonna make me work for it. Nice. Alright, the kicker. I think this time we're going to give him kicking power. I'm frustrated with the lack of pursuit I've been able to give these guys because I also need to give them defensive IQ because I'm not happy with their low defensive IQ either. These are starting players that need to be playing an end role, and they're kind of terrible at the end role. Right, well, that was a decent gain there. Again, terrible gain on this guy. This guy is just being an absolute black hole for training. Okay, I'm looking at this guy for strong safety. Does a strong safety need some block shedding? I mean, he'd be a well-rounded strong safety if he had that. Let's go for it. And him, I'm wanting to be a combination strong safety, free safety. Like, he can play either position. Let's look at depth chart. Return specialist. Running back. Well, that's a new change. Running backs can now be kick returners. We've got the speed. We've got the ball carrier vision. Don't necessarily have the catching I would prefer. Good route runner. Decent hands. This will be a slot more than likely. I'm looking at this guy being our kick returner, which actually gets us another 80 receiver, which will only make the receiving situation more complicated. All right, let's move on to the next week. Go to practices. He's a senior. Pretty happy with him as he is. Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on you. Ball carrier vision. Okay, let's look at the depth chart once again for return specialist. Derek O'Neill has moved up. I think it's ball carrier vision I should give to Derek O'Neill. Was that enough to move you on the depth chart? No. I'm gonna have to manually move you up then. Who are we going to give love here? This is a backup, but injuries happen. So let's give him some run blocking. Am I really going to do that? Wait. He's a senior. Wouldn't it make more sense to give a freshman love for the future? Yeah. Alright, we'll make the freshman a better pass blocker. Okay. That makes sense. Kick power? Yes. The sponges. Just went nowhere. Nowhere fast. Throw this sophomore some speed for the future. Couldn't hurt. Linebackers. We really haven't done anything for our linebackers. F plus durability, of course. Right, we were thinking of U2 playing interior, U2 playing on the outside. So if you're going to be playing on the outside, you've got great pursuit. Give him a little more speed. That is our training for the year. No matter what I did, I don't think I really developed the defensive line. I tried. Maybe I turned the one guy into a serviceable end. 81 speed, 78 pursuit, marginal defensive IQ. He's serviceable at end. This guy, man. 72 speed, 71 pursuit. He's just lackluster. He's the weak spot in our defense. The offensive line is pretty solid. The front five is nice, really good. Good run blocking across the board. We have a pretty good set of wide receivers. And these three running backs are going to be fun. QB is acceptable. Yeah. I think we're going to have a better year this year. With that being said, let's get to the recruiting. There's some visits. We're not going to be doing any camp invites, evidently. Nobody left to invite. Okay, let's sort by points ahead estimate. Okay, we'll sort by scout percentage. $68, $67, $68, $65, $64, $64, 69, 71. C plus 71, C plus 68. You know, I think this guy just lost his spot in the squad. We only need two defensive linemen, technically. I've been keeping this guy because he's the #2 defensive lineman in the country, supposedly. But he just did a massive nosedive in the scouting here. This #5 defensive lineman is far better than he is. And the #13 defensive lineman has more potential. Isn't that far back. So we're going to remove you, which will give us a pitchback that we can use for someone. Use it on this guy. Alright, we have an extra corner. There they are, right there. B- durability, A- durability. Okay, 70 man, 63 zone. 79 man, 63 zone. 81 speed. I think I'm going to try to keep them both. We're at 14. How many seniors do we have? 12, I believe. Yeah. I think we're going to be able to find the 2 open positions here to keep all of these guys. That's if we get all these guys, right? Because we're still competing for a couple of them. This wide receiver is not necessarily in the bag. This wide receiver is not horribly keen to join our squad. We're just chasing him because he's a good wide receiver that we don't technically lead, but he's got low interest to come to Minnesota. So there's a high chance that we don't win this guy. And then running back wise, medium low interest and we're competing with medium high interest. Anyway, I think this is the recruiting class right here. This is what we're going to work with. I'm happy with it. It fills our needs, gives us a couple extra skill players that might be useful down the stretch. Yeah, we're good. Alright, preseason expectations time. Win at least 5 games. Okay. That's fair. Beat Wisconsin. Hold USC to 22 points or fewer. Have 2,325 plus total rushing yards full season. That's the entire offense. That's a lot of rushing yards, actually. Convert 5 fourth downs total full season. Win 5 conference games. Five conference games. Is that realistic? Got Purdue. Maryland. Northwestern. Michigan's going to be rough. Illinois would be 4. Michigan State could be rough. USC is going to be really rough. Wisconsin's going to be rough. I mean, maybe we could edge out Nebraska. I don't think 5 conference games is a guarantee at any stretch of the imagination in the Big Ten. I have 2 negotiations. What else do you have for us here? Hold at least 1 opponent to 12 points or fewer. Hold opponents to less than 27 points per game full season. Throw 19 or fewer interceptions full season. Alright, the interceptions is easy, I think, but it pays crappy. Hold opponents to less than 27 points per game full season. Hold at least 1 opponent to 12 points or fewer. I think this is the more likely. We're going to go with that. Hold opponent to 12 points or fewer. That might have been a bad choice. We'll see. Convert 5 fourth downs. What else is here? Score 25 plus points in at least 3 games. That's easily doable. This one's easily doable and gets us more money. What else do we have? I like this one because I fancy we're a rushing squad. And that's something I would like to work towards, though I think it is a pretty difficult stat line to reach. But it pays out well. So we're going to leave that. Hold USC to 22 points or fewer. I'm concerned about this one. Hold opponents to less than 39% third down conversions full season. Win 4 games in a row. 4 games in a row. I think that one is actually more doable than we realize. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we could honestly start the season 4-0. Nebraska would be a little rough. Northwestern is doable. We could go 6-0. It's this stretch down here that's scary, right? But the first 6. All right. So if we negotiate this one, we get an increase of what was it? Convert 5 4. Score 25 points in at least 3 games is what we were looking at, I think, which is about $1 million more bucks. Where if we go here, we take one that is very iffy, that I don't think we really have a shot at, and we make more money in a bonus I think we have a far better shot at. So more money, better shot. This one all around just seems like the better way to go. Win 4 games in a row. All right, so those are our booster negotiations done. Let's save in advance. 83-83. That is kind of the prediction I said we were going to be. Defense went down, offense went up. Now let's just compare ourselves to the rest of the Big Ten here. Okay. On paper, we're better than Iowa and Nebraska. UCLA and USC seem to edge us out talent-wise. On paper, we're better than Northwestern and Illinois. Wisconsin edges us out. Indiana and Purdue, and we get edged out by Michigan and Ohio State. Rutgers and Maryland, and we're edged out by Penn State and Michigan State. So we're kind of right back where we were, right? This is pretty much the exact same spot we were last year. Number 2 in our bracket, and better than the bottom 2 of the other brackets. But unlike last year, I think last year we performed poorly in that we had an 86th ranked defense that really didn't perform as well as an 86th ranked defense should perform. We had an 81 ranked offense that, well, might as well have been a 70 something ranked offense, because I've had lower ranked offenses that ran the ball better than our 81 ranked offense did. This year, I'm hoping that our offense will actually be able to run the ball. If that happens, and the 83 ranked defense plays like an 83 ranked defense, I think we have a better shot of winning more games this year, more unexpected games this year, like games versus Wisconsin, where we're narrowly edged out talent-wise. We might be able to make up the gap. UCLA, narrowly edged out talent-wise. We might be able to make up the gap. Michigan, narrowly edged out talent-wise. We might be able to make up the gap. So, and those 3 are on our schedule this year, I'm pretty sure. So if we go to back to the dashboard and then back to schedule, was it USC? No, I was thinking of UCLA. Okay, so USC is going to be a bitch. Wisconsin, though, we might pull off. Michigan State is going to be rough, but Michigan, we might pull off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If we can get these 4 games in the second half, we could pull off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We pull off 10 wins, and then have a loss to USC and a loss to Michigan State. 10-2. 10-2 would be extremely overperforming. If we can reach 10-2, we have reached the pinnacle of the season, in my opinion. That would be, that's the target goal. 10-2. What am I expecting? I'm expecting 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. Rough. 6-1, 7-1, 7-2. Rough. 7-3, 7-4, 7-5. 7-5 is the expectation. 10-2 would be the upper echelon. So between 10-2 and 7-5. is what this season is looking like, in my opinion. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Should we jump into the first game? Yeah, let's try to get the first game underway. See how our team performs talent-wise. See if the cohesiveness of the run game really follows through into the season, like I hope it will. Points ahead estimate. Work from the bottom up. Alright, well, these guys all need offers. They all get an offer. Okay, and then next we have visits. Okay, we have a much broader spectrum of visits available this year. Wonder what's up with that. Are we going to schedule this wide receiver for the Michigan game? I guess we will. The running back wants to go to the Michigan game. Looks like the Michigan game is turning into our offense, but Northern Illinois is in later in the year. I think there's a very good shot that Northern Illinois is going to end up ranked. So let's schedule for Northern Illinois. Fine. I think we're going to lose that game. This is a linebacker. Okay, scheduling done. We are going to run the football, and we are going to stop the run. That is what we do here in Minnesota. Adjusting the depth chart. I'll move you down just in case. 3-player rotation, perfect. Elias is the fullback. Is Elias going to be a short yardage back? Yeah. Trevin Bunch will be the third down back. This freshman needs to get pulled down here. Six-player rotation. Looks good. You're going to be on the slot. I'll leave these other guys on auto. You can fill in where needed. You're a freshman. Okay. You are obviously a very talented blocking tight end. Gonna leave these guys on auto. They seem to be more receiving. Well, he can block and receive. He actually really isn't much of a blocker. Actually, let's set you to receiving, and we'll leave you on auto. Yeah, that makes more sense in my mind. Offensive line. This big old guy here is obviously going to be our left tackle. Right tackle. Center. Guard. Guard. That leaves these three guys. You're a tackle. Your guard, and you will just be left on auto. You can fill in as needed, I suppose. Yeah? Is that what I'm going to do with him? That's what I'm going to do with him. Okay. Yes. If I remember right, you are the nose guard. You're an end. And then what to do here. .72 speed. 71 pursuit. 73 speed. 77 pursuit. Strange as this seems, I'm thinking about making this sophomore the starting end. This guy is obviously an interior. We'll leave these two on auto. Is that really what I'm going to do? I mean, he's got 73 speed and 77 pursuit. And okay block shedding. His defensive IQ isn't that great, but neither is his peers. And he's younger than the other guys, so having a season in the starting lineup will help him develop faster. Alright, that's what's going to happen. Linebackers. Yeah, I'm quite sure you're the middle linebacker. You're the other inside linebacker. Definitely an outside linebacker with 105 pursuit. And you're the other outside. I think we're going to play you inside. Alright, the corner situation. odd as this might seem, you're going to play the slot, and you're actually going to get moved up. These other two will be left on auto. That what's going to happen? Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Pretty sure you're the free safety. Which makes you the strong safety. And 40% of snaps. Okay, these two are the starters, and you are going to literally relieve both of them, is how I'm envisioning this going. Kicker and punter. Return specialist, I want the wide receiver ahead of the running back. I value actually making the catch. Kicks are harder to catch than you can imagine. As someone who played as a high school kick returner, kick returning, which I loved, I actually, that was my favorite part of the game. I played more than just kick returner, actually, but that was my favorite. I played both ways. I played slot wide receiver as well as running back, because I was gifted with pretty good speed, and then I played outside linebacker, outside strong side linebacker. And I was one of the kick returners. Kick returning was my favorite part of the game, just because of the ability to create an incredible big play out of it. With my speed and ability, I was a pretty elusive player in high school. I had a good ability to evade tackles, and I was really fast, so kick returning was just like my jam. I absolutely enjoyed every opportunity I had to return the kick, but the part of it that always, I don't know, freaked me out was the actual securing that catch. That was the hardest part of it. It was to make the catch. Once the catch was made, then it was like, I'm off to the races. But making sure that I didn't screw up that catch was just so paramount in my mind. And I have to imagine that that's a similar thing for other kick returners. It's just, it's a different animal, because it's not like a quarterback has thrown you a nice tight spiral that kind of falls into your hand, or if you will. It's wobbly. I mean, it's sometimes kickers kick a pretty good spiral, but you get a lot of strange end over end. The ball just doesn't come to you the same way as it comes in a pass, and so it can be difficult to make sure it stays on the numbers. It likes to hit your chest, hit your pads, and because it's not a spiral, because it's all end over end crap, it likes to bounce off your pads. And if you're not really securing it well, yeah, things can go south real quickly. So that's why I don't like the idea of having a running back as my returner who has weak hands. I would rather have a receiver in this situation. Anyway, long story for little reason. Let's continue on here. So we've accomplished the depth chart. Game plan. Our number one wide receiver, yes. Our slot receiver will be number 2, and our tight end will be number 3. We're not going to throw at the running back this year. Am I going to be able to accomplish all my promises this year? I do think, yeah, all the promises are going to happen without a problem. Alright, let's play ball. So we're favored by 9. We already won the first meeting. Okay, begin coin toss. It's heads. Appalachian State wins the toss. Appalachian State is elected to receive the ball. Minnesota will kick off. Okay, here we go. How are we going to do this year? 2nd and 9, 3rd and 2, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 1st and 10, 2nd and 11, 3rd and 7. Okay, we stopped them. Now here's the question. How's our running game going to do? Wow. Well, that's nice. Touchdown. Elias Burns, our fullback, gets the first touchdown of the year. Alright, 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 1st and 10, 2nd and 2, 1st and 10, 2nd and 11. Fumble. Nah. Okay. Can we get to some more running here? We're a running football team. Elias Burns, touchdown. I have a feeling our fullback is going to get his fair share of touchdowns this year. It's 14-0. 3rd and 3. 4th and 5. End around. It worked. Whoa. Hello. Wait, that's Elias Burns, just our fullback, our rather slow, lumbering brute, breaks a 48-yard run for a touchdown. That's crazy. Okay, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 4, 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9. Let's wear him down. Really? No. No, no, no. Goal line. Dive. 4th down. Alexis McNamara gets his first touchdown of the year. Interception. Good field position for us. Come out running. Continue to go to the ground. Play action. Touchdown. 35-0. Almost the end of the first half. Granted, this is going to be one of our weaker teams that we've faced this year, but the offense feels good. It actually feels like the running game is actually running the football. I praise the run game, and all of a sudden it gets shut down. That's funny. 2nd and 5, 3rd and 5, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 6, 1st and 10, 2nd and 1, 1st and 10, 2nd and 1, 1st and goal, 2nd and goal. Touchdown, sadly. Interception. Fumble. Okay, well, one turnover deserves another, I suppose. $31-yarder. Yeah, we'll take it. 2nd and 8. 3rd quarter. 1st and 10. 2nd and 10. 3rd and 8. 2nd and 6. Yeah, let's run this game out. First and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 4, 4th and 5, turnover on downs. Punting, Ooh, deep. Send the kitchen sink at him, please. Second and 7, third and 7, fourth and 3. Turnover on downs. Game over. Alright, so we held an opponent to 7 points. So we've accomplished one of our objectives right off the bat, which was to hold a team for less than 12 points. Or less than 14 points? No, 12 points. Pretty well-rounded. I was expecting a little more rushing yards than this, but I'm happy. It did feel like our running backs actually moved the football this game. I'm pretty stoked with how I felt our offense did. Hopefully we don't get a bunch of injuries. All right. Minnesota game stat record updates. Pass yards / attempt 10.29. Rushing touchdowns 3 for Elias Burns. 40 plus yard plays 2 for Minnesota. Offensive talent 83. Alright, let's go over to recruiting. Wait, it's ahead estimate. Can schedule a visit. We'll go for the Michigan game, I guess. The Nebraska game, I think we have a better chance of winning the Nebraska game, actually. Linebacker. Send him to the Nebraska game. Right, recruiting done. We're going to rush the football and we're going to stop the run. Lock in those focuses as we prepare for a Purdue game. Nothing to adjust on the depth chart, nothing to change in the game plan. Alright, we've already accomplished this goal. We've got one of our fourth down conversions out of the way for the year. And we're off to 259 yards rushing. How many? So we play 12 games. Let's just go 10 games. If we go 10 games in a row with 250 yards rushing, we will accomplish... I think we can do this. I really do. And 4 games in a row, right? Alright, so this is where we're going to wrap up this episode. So far, so good. We're moving in the right direction. Maybe we should look at league news. See if there's anything to be said about old Minnesota here. Doesn't look like it yet. And in the Big Ten, do we say anything about us? Our QB is in the top 5 for the Big Ten. Aggies, Texas A&M beats Wisconsin. Interesting. Ohio State versus Wisconsin next week. Golden Gophers face road test. Boilermakers take on the Golden Gophers this week in West Lafayette in a cross-divisional showdown. The two teams are fairly evenly matched talent-wise, but Minnesota has the clearly better statistical profile. Minnesota has the 11th most efficient passing offense, averaging 10.3 yards per pass. And Golden Gophers deliver in blowout win. Minnesota defeats Appalachian State 38-7, earning their first win of the season. The Golden Gophers passed for 216 yards and rushed for 259 more, and forced their opponent into 4 turnovers on the day. Minnesota moved to 1-0 on the season, while Appalachian State fell to 0-1. Right. And looking at the division, Penn State is on top over here. Michigan State lost their first game. Ohio State's on top over here. Michigan lost their first game. We are on top over... Okay, Northwestern won a game, but it was non-conference. And we won a game, and it was non-conference. And Wisconsin lost a game and it was not okay. So a bunch of pointless games. And here is the part of the bracket where some people actually won. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-1. Unusual that these top two brackets here. Actually, Indiana won, didn't they? So it's this bracket that has the more of the goose eggs than the wins. Yeah, we're gonna take over the Midwest. We're gonna be the kings of the Midwest. At least until Wisconsin offers me a job. And am I gonna move to Wisconsin at this point? I mean, Minnesota and Wisconsin are kind of, at this point in the game, they're pretty equal franchises. If I was to be moving to Wisconsin at this point, it would be kind of a lateral move, and I'd be doing it only because I'm from Wisconsin and that's my team. And it makes sense that I would want to go coach my team, right? So I probably would still take the Wisconsin job. But it would be like, you know, this effort I've made to make Minnesota better than Wisconsin will just get tossed out the window. And then I'll have to beat the effort that I made in Minnesota. I'll have to turn around and try to supplant my old team, which would be an interesting situation if I went from Minnesota to Wisconsin at some point. It would kind of suck, but it would be interesting nonetheless. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. If so, please smash that like button to consider subscribing, and until the next time, all, peace.